that's, kind of.
Paola, it's 6:30, so let's go ahead and get started. So Paola, if you can go ahead and take care of our roll call.
District 2, Alderman Richard Hughes.
Present.
District 3, Alderman David Emery.
I'm here.
District 4, Alderman Michael Rodriguez.
Here.
District 5, Alderman Charles Pate.
Here.
District 5, Alderman Villager is absent.
Thank you so much, I appreciate that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please rise and please join us as we do our pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, council, let's go ahead and move on. We're going to go ahead and get started on citizens to be heard. This is the opportunity for citizens, visitors, and guests to address the city council on any issue or any item on the agenda in compliance with LGC section 551.007. City council may not discuss any unpresented issue nor may take any action at any time. Citizens to be heard are limited to 3 minutes each. Attorney General Opinion, JC 0169. Do we have anybody here for citizens' comments? Going once, going twice, and I didn't have anybody sign up. Great, okay. Paula, if you can please show there were no comments in that section. And we're gonna go ahead and proceed to the next thing. And we're gonna go ahead and recognize one of our city employees for his actions and what he has done for us. So Pete, come on up, bring the family up.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
I got 3 buses outside ready to go.
Oh, they're getting, okay, well, we'll go ahead and start talking. Be able to take care of that. How you doing, ma'am?
Good.
Good. Pleasure. Good to see you again, man. Well, we have an opportunity. This doesn't come very often because we all can go ahead and reflect back and say, boy, that was 25 years. And I didn't expect that to happen, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I know. But during those 25 years, we had a great opportunity to have one of our employees that has made a huge difference here in our city. I tell you, Pete, I've seen him from everything, just taking care of things that needed to be. I've seen him up to about water up to here, trying to control the flow and trying to make sure that we can take care of our citizens, just being in there in the ground, to actually being on the top and just coordinating and talking to people and businesses and everything just to make things kind of work out. But 25 years,
Long time.
it is a long time.
It was like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And a lot of things. But we're very blessed. We're very blessed with some great employees. And Pete is one of those that actually has made the difference in our community. And it's not only for your professionalism, but also your personal touch. And by the way, he talks real highly about you. And he didn't tell me to say that, okay? He reminds me. He reminds me about that, and he also reminds me about the Natalia Mustangs, right? We always have discussions between the two of them. But that's how much pride he has, and that's how much he loves his family and loves this area. So one of the little small tokens of appreciation and that we get a chance to do is go ahead and present a plaque to you on here, and it's basically recognizing you for the 25 years of dedicated service to the city of Lytle. I mean, September of 1998. Wow.
Yeah.
What music was around during that time?
Drumstick.
Remember? It says, all I remember is just the Hano and cumbias and a little bit of the country, right? And do a little bit of that. But no, it goes by very quick. So this is a small token of appreciation on behalf of all the council. Just being able to say thank you for your service and for you all too, and making a difference, because I know in the middle of the night, we have actually taken them away and asked them to come in and respond to an emergency and be able to take care of that. So 24/7, we really appreciate this. So let's go ahead and take a quick little photo and do this way. Here we go. And look that way.
No, we don't bite.
There we go. Actually, I need counsel. Come on up. Get up here. We gotta take one. Matt, get over here. Robbie, you wanna join us?
No, not really.
No. Okay, there we go. There you go. Let's take a quick photo. Here we go.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
All right, any comments? Thank you for everything. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. No. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And thank you for letting us talk. That'll be good. 25 years.
25 more to go.
There you go.
25.
What do you think, Robbie?
We'll be talking about retirement in the morning.
You can take care of him for 25 more? Okay, there you go. Oh, no.
I gotta do another 10.
You can't do that. You gotta do that.
Kick up
She's got him. Pete likes to kick him.
Oh, we're gonna need to take care of that. All right, well, thank you, council, appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 5, consent agenda, and consider the approval of payment of bills. And I think Lynette actually placed in front of you the list of the bills for us to go ahead and review.
Mayor, I'd like to start by making a motion to accept the bills as presented.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for us to accept the bills as presented? You got a second? Okay.
2 questions. What is the TRC water system improvement on page 2, the amount of $37,505.15? What project is that for?
That's for the new water line relocation, the water tower, booster pump, just all the work they're doing on the engineering side of that.
And the second one was what, on the last page for Memorial Eldridge, completed annexes for the emergency management plan?
So that was a contract council did with her. I think each portion was 3,300 and some change, total of 10,000. She had been working on annexes, but by the time we got our plan adopted, the state is transitioning from annexes to ESFs. And that is something we need to work on here, and due to the fact that she no longer works in our general area, it's gonna be hard for her to complete that task force. So in talking with her and the amount of work she done, we agreed on 2,000 versus the 3,300 as the last final payment to close that out, and then we'll take it on from there.
So what was completed as far as annexes?
She had completed, I have to go back and count, 5 or 6 or so of the annexes. As far as completed work with the mayor, and I've done all the legwork and coordinated some of that. But the fact that we've switched gears and we're gonna go to the ESF so we can get them adopted at one time. It's just hard for her to do those now, because it takes a lot of coordination locally.
And it's electronic now. We're
Yeah.
actually doing them electronically versus the old handwritten.
But our basic plan is accepted. We're operation as our own under the basic plan. So now we have over the next year to work through each one of the ESFs to get those approved, and we'll be 100% compliant.
The only other large item I saw was the storm siren.
Century Storm Sirens, if that was, let me see what that was for. I mean, I know what it was for, I don't know if that was a pole though. So we are adding, under emergency management, another siren over at the sewer plant, which will cover the new subdivisions on that side of town. The pole has been installed, we have the siren here now, just gotta get it wired in through the electrician.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Any other further discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you so much, council, appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 6 is a public hearing. So if we can go ahead and open this up, Paula, if you can show, it's 6:39 PM. This is a public hearing on the application by Miguel A. Pettis to locate a mobile home on property located at 633 Hidalgo Street, Lido, Texas, lots 1, 2, and 3, Block 1, Coal Mine Subdivision, Medina County, Texas. So this is an opportunity. Anybody in attendance? Don't have anybody that is signed in, but is there anybody that would like to say any comments concerning this? Going once, going twice. All right, no comments. Go ahead and put that on there. And Paula, if you can please show it's 6:40 PM. And we'll go ahead and close the public meeting on that portion. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move on to number 7. This is in the open session. Take action on the item discussed. A, consider and act upon the application by Miguel A. Pettis to locate a mobile home on the property located at 6393 Hidalgo Street, Lytle, Texas, lots 1, 2, and 3, Block 1, Coal Mine Subdivision, Medina County, Texas. Man, I will, and actually I apologize, it's 633 Hidalgo, is that correct? What's the actual?
3393.
3393. Okay.
So council, Mr. Rios told me that the planning and zoning, or sorry, the mobile home commission already heard this and they're approving or recommending its approval for placement. There's others in that area in the coal mine subdivision, so that's what we would recommend as well.
On May the 22nd, what did we hear? There's an item in A that has the same header.
So it was for the mobile home for him, but he had a double wide.
So now
Oh, that's right. He switched, so he had a,
Switched to a small, or like a larger one, longer one, but
okay,
instead of a double wide.
okay, because that motion was passed. so
Yes.
it's-
that's right, he was heard for a specific type of, call it double wide.
Okay,
And since then, he switched gears and said, no, I want a single wide, so we put him back through the process because it
Okay.
ultimately could have changed somebody's thought process on it. I forgot that was
All right, council?
Motion that we accept, that we accept the application by Miguel Perez to locate a mobile home on the property located at 63393 Hidalgo Street, Lytle, Texas, lot 1, 2, and 3, block 1 of Coal Mine Subdivision, Medina County, Texas.
Got a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Got a second? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, council, appreciate that. All right, good to go, sir. There you go. You're welcome to stay if you want to hear the rest of it.
Thank you.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to B, consider and act upon authorizing consultant service agreement with EMC Strategy Group LLC for grant fund development and economic development services. Here we go.
So council, this is back before you tonight. On 9/25, you technically approved this and legal going back and working through some final touch-ups on it. In that process, there's one thing that we couldn't come to terms on, and that was the termination clause. I think there was some talk and potential of having a 30-day notice termination clause without cause, just the city could say, hey, we're done, 30-day notice and be done with it. EMC Strategy says that's kind kind of a no-go for them. They prefer to go back to what was in their original contract presented to you, which is a 120-day notice if EMC Strategy fails to comply with their scope of services listed in the agreement. So talking with legal, this is a business decision, so we're bringing it back to council to see which way y'all want to go. This is really the last thing we got to work through to get this either accepted or not accepted.
So we've agreed to do it, it's just a matter of this item, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'd like to make a motion here that we enter into this contract with the original stipulation that termination would be with a 120-day notice only if the MC Strategies fails to comply with the scope of services.
Second. I got a second? Okay, this is with the original 120 days.
Original as written, when it was presented to us last time.
All right, discussion, open it up.
Yeah, a little further on that. I know what the group does. I'm in contact with people in other cities that are intimate with what they do. And they're very pleased with what you guys do. I know you're with almost every city in this area and a tri-county area. And we've heard good things about like Pearsall you've done. We need what you can do. And I don't think we should pass up the opportunity to get you on board and get you busy. And I know, if what I hear is true, that you'll probably get busy tomorrow. So I'm all for this. I know you guys will do a good job for us. I know you'll take a burden off of us. You'll bring money to us. And you'll lighten the load for the people at City Hall because you'll help to administer these things. So, go ahead.
Roger that.
So everything discussed in the previous meeting was agreed upon. The limitation on the withdrawal, there's no, if one party does not care to continue the 120 days.
It's, yeah, if the city chooses to not, or chooses to get out of this contract before the 2026 deadline, we have to file a 120-day notice, and we have to describe in that notice how they failed to comply in their scope of service.
And that's what we were asking.
That's what EMC was asking for. There were some talks in potentially having a 30-day termination clause without, or termination notice without cause. Basically, the city just saying, we don't want to continue it.
And that was refused?
Yeah, EMC Strategy says that's not what they do. This is different. I understand both sides of it in the fact that they understand the city side and that, you know, we need to have that 30-day clause because we may say tomorrow we don't want to be in it anymore or something. I understand their side of it and the amount of work that has to go in to even prep up and get ready for issuing grants and working through stuff like that. So in talking with legal, really this is a business decision. How does council want to move forward? So we're bringing it back to y'all. How do y'all want to move forward with this?
I should point out that legally, there's no requirement. The city's not obligated to provide a 120-day notice and that the consultant not be unable to perform. There's no statutory requirement for that. So for that reason, it really is at the discretion of the council. If they wanted to do it that way, they would. I also wanted to point out that it's very unlikely that a consultant would be able to provide these services. So effectively, the city would not really have a truly effective way. I mean, short of them just not wanting to do it or they just shutting down entirely, which seems very unlikely, right? So for that reason, I just wanted to point that out to the city, that they would be pretty much committed to the contract because the likelihood of the consultant being unable to perform the services that is do economic development type of work, consulting work, or go and assist the city in fund development would be very low. That short of them just not doing anything for the city in that way to demonstrate cause.
And
Right?
I think that was
so-
part of the discussion was for this not to become a budgeted line item that we were committed to.
Correct, and so I just wanted to bring that back. We couldn't quite figure out what the mind of the council was on what they wanted the contract to say. So for that reason, we wanted to come back because it really is, from a legal standpoint, it's either way, however you want to do it. But from a business standpoint, that's a decision for the council in terms of how you would want the contract to be structured. So for that reason, we brought it back for discussion to council to decide.
So we would effectively have no way out of the contract. If
It would be
you go
very
with
limited.
120 days, that would be in violation of the scope of services.
Correct. It would, very unlikely. I mean, it's possible, but I mean, given the nature of the work and of what they do, it would be fairly difficult for the city to show that they had cause, that the consultant was unable to perform the services in the scope. That would be unlikely, but possible that they, you know, all the employees quit and they no longer wanted to work or something like that. Then yes, the city would probably show that.
Question for EMC, I know putting it on your spot, but have you had any challenges with any of the cities?
No, may I approach?
Yes, please.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the city council. One of the things that, the answer to the question is no, we have not had any issues performing the duties. One of the concerns that we had was, we planned things out with 60, 90 days, 120 days. When we work on projects, it's usually at a very high level. Dealing with the congressman, whether it's Tony Gonzalez or Henry Graham. And when we plan on those projects, we have to coordinate with their scheduler, their chief of staff, to make sure that we get them from Washington DC over here. That takes a lot of coordination, and it takes a lot of resources from our staff and also the member of Congress staff, or whether it's your state senator or state rep. So that's the big concern, is that if we engage into a project and we already know that we've got potentially 90 to 120 days to work on the project, and we're dealing with other people that are outside the city that can bring a lot of resources to the city. That's the big concern that we have, because if we jumpstart a job or a project, we'd hate to be in a position where now we got a halt, but we already started, the train's already rolling. And it's a bad perception, it's unprofessional to do so, and that was our concern.
I would feel if this was a startup organization, I might be a little hesitant, say we just don't know your track record, but you have a track record. And what you just explained, you're going to be investing a whole lot in what you do, and you'll be putting a whole lot of trust in us to follow through and do what we need to do with the grants. And so there needs to be a mutual trust here. And to say 30 days and we're just going to say, hey, we don't want you anymore, it's unfair to you. And I think it's a bad way for us to go.
And a more recent example was, we're working with TxDOT on a major project for a neighboring community. And we built a relationship with the TxDOT chief engineer last March. And we've been in regular contact with this gentleman named Landon Simmons. We brought him to Pleasanton last week. And it took us 4 months to kind of do that. And he was there engaged with the county judge, state representative's office, the congressman's office, and it just took a lot of work to get there. And now there's follow-up, because now we had a workshop, a transportation workshop with TxDOT's top leadership, and now there's the follow-up. And eventually, we'd like to mirror an event like that here, because we know that the city's growing, and you're gonna need those state and federal resources, and we wanna be able to do it the way.
I want to do that.
And Council, I have one question for you, Mr. Gonzalez, and two for Jesse. I was looking at y'all's website, and I didn't see any mention of grant writing on the website. Is that a new service that y'all are offering?
I think we have it listed as total fund development. And part of the total fund development includes the grant writing and the other fundraising services that we talked about before, but no, it's not a new service at all.
Okay. Jesse, if we don't go out for RFPs for grant writers to secure these grants, does this preclude EMC from administering the grants if they're awarded to us?
Not that I'm aware of. I think it depends on the grant service, the grant awarded, but I don't think so. No.
And the second question, is it legal to pay this grant writer, any grant writer, a commission for grant proceeds?
It potentially would be, but this particular engagement would not be. There is no commission included. In fact, we specifically amended the draft to address those.
I haven't seen the revised contract. It wasn't in the packet, so I know that was my big question.
No.
Looking into federal funds, right? I don't want the city to get into a position where that money gets taken back.
Right, so the contract was specifically amended to expressly state that the city is not paying a commission on any grant funds received, and that any monies paid for grant administration would be allowed to the extent they're allowed by the grant rules themselves and from the grant monies themselves. So it would not be coming from any direct city funds, but from the grant funds.
So it's just a flat $5,500 a month. Is that what y'all ironed out?
the same fee structure for the month-to-month fee would remain unchanged.
Yeah, I mean, I get your point, Mr. Gonzalez, about having that wider window, right, to transition if the city, goes a different route as far as having somebody, because, you're running a business, right? And of course, as a council, giving the city as much flexibility and protection as possible, I think that falls upon us. So again, that's why that was brought up a month ago, whenever y'all were out here last. Because I feel like to protect our interests, we need to be able to get out of any contract, not just with you, but with anybody, with no reasons given. So, thanks for coming out.
In any condition, that was agreed upon that you would not receive commission until the council agreed on the grant.
That's correct, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And you all be involved in that process, also a public meeting for every grant that we put out there, it's a requirement. And we did that.
And just to clarify, Councilor, that it is not a cushion, that they would be receiving an administrative fee to help
Yes, correct.
administer and comply
On
with the
the
grant.
acceptance of.
Yeah,
the
so,
grant.
so they would not just get money for grant money received, but rather they would be charged with administering the grant that they helped the city receive, and so under those.
Yeah, you gotta be careful how you say it.
Yeah, it's just,
Thank you.
just to clarify.
That would take the workload off council staff
That's the
here.
part that helps take the load off City Hall here. They'll help to administer the grant once it comes in for a small administrative fee.
Correct,
Right.
correct, and that often is.
It's not a commission, and that's the way it was written in the contract, that it's
Yes.
not a commission.
Yes. That's part of the scope.
So are we planning to amend the city administrator job description as far as grant administrator? I mean, that's what is in the job description currently, for the city administrator.
I think
administer grants.
Our agreement said to provide technical assistance.
Yeah, no grant administration.
They would assist us, they would assist the city administrator in managing the grants.
And the state.
There's certain things that you have to maintain, there's certain things you need to report, there's timelines that you have to be able to take care of, things like that. So those are the things that they would be able to help us out with that. But council, I just want to go ahead and remind you, we actually, a few months ago, we prioritized, and one of the top 3 things, or top 5 things, but it was number 3, was grants on there. So this is one of the ways that we're already tackling our top 5 priorities that we said that we were going to go ahead and take care of in the next coming year. So I ask you to take that into consideration as we actually put it out for a vote.
One final comment, if we pass on this tonight, and Mr. Gonzalez's group doesn't work with us, we lose money. The city loses money that's sitting out there waiting for us, that right now, we're having a hard time knowing about and finding. And this is what he brings to us. And I think we need to press full speed ahead and get him on board, and let's get some money coming into this town.
Okay, so with that in mind, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nay. All right, let's get to work. Appreciate it.
Mark.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks for being out here. Appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to C, consider and act upon resolution number 23-09, resolving the Michael Farms Public Improvement District.
The council is just that, we need a motion, or we need to move to approve resolution number 2309, dissolving Mile Farms Public Improvement District.
I make that motion.
Got a motion on the floor?
I'll second that. Go ahead, Phil. No, Michael got it. Michael got the second.
Got a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to the next phase, which is D. Consider and act upon resolution number 23-10, authorizing and creating Lytle Farms Public Improvement District number 2 in accordance with chapter 372 of the Texas Local Government Code, authorizing the execution and entering into a development agreement, providing for related matters and providing an effective date.
So council, I'm gonna let the real people that work on this stuff up play, because I'd be lost, but right, like all that.
Clay?
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Clay Benford, representing the city as special counsel in this matter. I've been to visit with you a couple of times in the past about this. This is the companion piece of the dissolution of the existing PID. Really, it's the second evolution of this development. We've been in negotiations with the developer for many months to come up with an agreement that I'm proud to stand in front of you today and recommend today. And this is the creation of a public improvement district to facilitate the development on the property that has been really subject to these discussions since I became involved in 2020. This is the terms of creating a new public improvement district that would allow the developer to impose an assessment, or acting through the city to impose an assessment within that geographic area to pay for some of the infrastructure, public infrastructure only, streets, drainage, roads. We have a park that's in there, 20 acres of minimum open space. We have property reserved for veterans assistance if you have a greater than 50% disability. The developer will pay the assessment off on day one so that those new homeowners can go in with as initial home buyers without having the burden of that assessment. We have a 2-acre central park that is guaranteed within this. We have also had the developer commit that before we reserve any capacity for water or wastewater service, then they have to deliver us security in the form of a letter of credit so that their velocity schedule does not meet the projections to pay impact fees, and the city has a source of recovery of its cost for investment in this offsite infrastructure to be able to support the development. Really 2 things that are going on within this item. One is the creation of the public improvement district. That is, I call it an empty vessel. It's the legal vehicle that has to be brought back in the future to fill it with a financial obligation, which is the actual service assessment plan and the imposition of the assessment. The development agreement is something that is very important to me to be able to tell you that this is a step that I think that I recommend that you make, because it is the agreement of the developer to do all of this relative to development. We don't give them the bid if they don't commit to all of the things that I just described. So happy to answer any questions. I know we've talked about this a number of times. I've expressed concern to you about this before. Through the course of our negotiations, I've been able to address some of those concerns, and we memorialize that in the development agreement that's presented here today.
If we don't approve the bid, does the development fall apart?
Yes, sir, it does. The bid is fundamental to their ability to agree on what we put in the development agreement. I will also tell you that there are a couple of other agreements, just so I don't forget. We have a landowner agreement to where the landowner consents prospectively to future assessments. They have to notify every homeowner coming in, every builder coming in. We have to have signage and full disclosure. We negotiated that agreement today, so there's no uncertainty. We also have a maintenance agreement that has been negotiated as part of this agreement, and that is so that these development amenities do not become a burden on the taxpayers and the balance of the city. They being the developer acting through a homeowners association, has to maintain public parks and open space. They also have to maintain their right-of-way lighting, including to pay for the electricity that it costs to run that lighting. So that way, we again negotiate that. If they want to include that as an amenity, it doesn't become a burden to the other taxpayers outside of the development.
Is that in perpetuity or for a specified period of
In
time?
perpetuity.
So you spoke about the 2-acre park, Clay. Is that gonna be a private park just for members of the neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
The city, it's gonna be a city park that they maintain.
Yes, sir.
How serious is this developer to get started on this?
They were, my understanding is they're ready to go. There's a requirement before, that they cannot recover costs until the PID is created. And the PID will become effective after we record the agreement in the public records of the county. And then they are, my understanding is that they're gonna start soon thereafter in site work. But they've been waiting for this action so that the expenses can be accumulated and reimbursed through the PID once created.
So I guess, really, what's the timeline we're looking at? Y'all file this tomorrow in Atascosa County, and they get started on groundwork here in the next, month?
That was what they represented, the council represented, yes, sir.
What was it? It was 500 units, I guess. So, something.
Rosenberg, do you know what number of units were proposed in this?
499.
499, and that's Nina Prado, she represents the developers.
That's 100 duplexes still?
Yes, yes, 99 duplexes.
So we're gonna get almost 600.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, almost 600 doors.
But we do take that into account, as far as, doing things with the law does not allow us to do unilaterally. We have, on the single family homes, and also on the duplexes, we have, standards for them being site built. They have to be on, minimum lot size, all respecting the Tier code. They have to have a minimum amount of living space, and with respect, in the case of single family homes, they have to be constructed of masonry-based, exterior, materials, stone, stucco, masonry-based hardwood, that kind of thing. So the idea is that you are building something, you're asking something from the city, so we want it to be of a certain standard of quality that will stand the test of time.
Clay, can you also, for the council awareness of the front portion of it, the commercial development too?
Yes, there is a commercial piece that is associated with it. I don't recall off the top of my head the amount or of that it is in the master development plan that's already been filed. There are minimum requirements for the commercial as well, that it has to be, because the city is providing support, we make sure that there are not certain types of businesses that might be viewed as undesirable. So we don't want the city associated with supporting that type of commercial development, and it would be, massage parlors and pay lenders and things of that nature. So the idea is that it is a higher quality development of commercial that also buttresses the public amenities like parks and also the homes.
I think from the developer standpoint, we're looking at businesses to be able to supply services to those residents that are in there.
And other city residents.
And other city residents, correct, but they would be in the front portion of it, just to be able to sustain.
So they face the road, you're with the developers there?
Yes.
Quick question, I'm just curious. Are these, single floor homes, double, two-story homes?
There will be a variety.
So you can hear you.
I know I see some go into San Antonio and it's just, the whole place is full of these two-story little boxes. And it's nice to see some variety there.
Rick Richenberg from DPFG, representing the developer as their consultant. The builder who would building the houses will have a variety of plans. That they're good for their business as well. They don't want just a bunch of row homes.
Right.
I'm not sure if in the development agreement we have any standards on, sometimes there's how many homes.
We don't.
Different plan,
We don't.
but we do expect a variety of both one-story and two-story homes.
Okay.
I would also add that with your approval tonight, in addition to allowing the developer comfort to go forward with development, he can work closely to get his builders on board. He needs to know, builders need to know the economics, as does the developer.
Right.
So this will allow him to negotiate terms with the builders that are critical to the success.
And I have some sample photos if you would like.
I'd love to see it.
And these are just of the homes.
It's still, I remember in some of the discussions, they talked about the medium, in the sense of the type of homes, but he was looking at the last phase, maybe a higher level homes being built in that area. Was that discussion still being looked at?
Right now, we're assuming, for purposes of conservatism, similar type prices in first and second section. But it's typical in the second section of a project like this to move up.
That's what I
If I may, there is, this is to be at least what's been communicated to us, and it's not atypical, is this development will be accomplished in phases. And to be able to determine what's going to be built on the back end is somewhat predicting the future based on the absorption in the market. We do know that there's a plat that's been approved for the first phase of this. As Councilman Kay said, there are 499 structures with 99 of those being duplexes. I believe the first unit is about 130 to 160 units. Depending on the absorption and velocity of that, probably dictates what the next phases of this will be. We will be creating service and assessment plans that indicate and to give you more of the specific details about what will actually be built, with this development agreement serving as the baseline that we cannot go below. We can always go above, and based on market, I would assume the developers will come and deliver you plans of what that might look like. But there will be a homeowners association. Most homeowners association bylaws and rules have design criteria, and they have things in place that would be preventative of having the exact same home within a certain number of lots. I believe those have not yet been created, but I would expect a guidance from this council as we have a contractual arrangement would at least be considered by the developers to put that stuff in. I believe that their goal is to make it an attractive development, and that is why they're looking for support to help them not only make an attractive development, but one that is entry level or at the level that people can become affordable in this community, in this market. That is the essential function of the public improvement district, to allow them to build a higher standard and a higher quality than the market can support it.
A while ago, you mentioned, commercial. Now, did you say how much space is gonna be available for that?
The current plans are about 160,000 square feet of potential commercial space.
And that's frontage, right?
Okay. But that is planned for the second phase of the project. So I can't guarantee that, but that is what the plans are at this point. We know that commercial parcels cannot be converted to residential. They are to be commercial.
So would that be one long building divided into?
I'm not an architect. You know, I would tell you that it's likely the commercial will be developed by a commercial developer.
Okay,
Our client is not, they will do what is best for the market.
so they'll buy or lease the spot.
They'll probably buy, usually in these kind of projects, the commercial land is sold to the commercial developer as the rooftops in the first phase are going up. And they design the project to be most successful.
So you talked about the deed restrictions, right, on the residential lots. Is there gonna be, you talked about build to suit for the commercial stuff?
There are deed restrictions within the development agreement on commercial as well.
Because I guess my underlying question is, talking about restricted business, are we gonna need to go back in and change any zoning on our end, prohibit these businesses, or is that just gonna be the developer is gonna uphold their end of the?
Correct. You have a contract, you do not have to modify zoning. Within zoning, we can layer contractually some additional limitations, which you will have enforcement rights under this agreement if they violate them.
I only had one question. The mayor brought up in the last meeting, we talked about this, the park and any other areas that you build that's gonna be accessible to the city. You're gonna have adequate parking.
Adequate parking,
Yeah, there's no plan right now.
Because if you build a park there, it's accessible from the city, I mean, the citizen would have to walk there. So if you don't have any kind of parking where they can drive up and be able to utilize the park.
So the one thing that I would say about that is we take details that we try to put specifics around that we know are important. On things that we do not get into the details as it relates to them, we rely upon the city code to handle it. So if you have a parking requirement within your code for public improvements, that will apply to this. Anything that is not specifically addressed in here, we default to the code. And so for anything that we talk about, for example, the commercial buildings and commercial spaces, the code does not specify that you do not have sexually oriented businesses within a particular area that's authorized by the code. We put that in here because, in my opinion, as your council, I would not want the city to be accused of supporting a business with public funds for something with that could be viewed as objectionable. As it relates to the park and parking, my assumption, and I would refer to the city attorney, is that there are provisions within the code for minimum parking for amenities of different types, whether it be commercial or it be public in nature, and the developer is forced to or required to comply with all of that. There's nothing in this development agreement that would preclude its obligation to satisfy the code for all other developments and everything else being equal, even if this development agreement did not exist. So I believe that he's right there. There is a bit of a chicken and an egg in this. He can't get started until he knows that he has the public improvement district. Now that he has the public improvement district, he has to go through the planning process. The planning process will apply the code, which will include the phases of the plat that include the public improvements, so we'll have to satisfy things like parking.
So Jesse, we can move forward with the current motion with regards to any kind of designation of parking for, like I said, like for example, the public park.
That item is not on the agenda, the agenda item is for consideration of the PID, formation of the PID is
Yeah,
on.
right, so we can move forward.
With approval of the PID, which is on the agenda.
Yeah, I just don't, I like the idea of a public park, but it's not gonna do the citizens any good if they can't access it.
Understood.
You know, if they have to walk there, it's not gonna happen.
Understood.
If we could talk to Clay about it afterwards as well.
It was just brought up in the previous.
And we'll
meeting.
need to look at what our current code actually shows on there to see if there's anything that is already gonna be measured whenever it's sent in for evaluation. So we'll take care of that.
And the plat process will go through that and make sure the development, as it's platted, will comply with the regulations for parking and street width and types of street.
I mean, not to get lost in the weeds, because it's a future discussion to be had in the planning process. But if you're gonna put a big old parking lot at a park, you're eating into park land. You know, that's my take on it. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I move that we approve resolution number 23-10, authorizing and creating Lidle Farms Public Improvement District number 2.
Got a motion on the floor?
Council, if I may, we also need to authorize the creation of the development, or execution of the development agreement as well. So if we can so do that.
Amend my motion there to include the authorization of the development contract.
Agreement.
Agreement.
Second.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you so much. Thank you for all your hard work and appreciate the coordination among our agencies. Thank you. Thanks, Clay. Appreciate it, sir. Andy, thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
guys.
Thank you.
All right.
All right, I make sure you got that in there, was probably a little bit.
Good catch. Good. All right, let's go ahead and move on to E, consider an act upon authorizing the city administrator to renew the certificate of deposit account ending 6931 at Lidle State Bank with the funds totaling $5,384. Matt?
So council, we were doing the last one, asked if we had any other ones coming up, so that way we can get them renewed before they expire. And this is one that was brought to our attention. The only thing they could tell me on it, because every time it renews, the numbers change, so they were able to see the back history on it. The only thing it was labeled sewer fund at one point, so this is sewer money on this CD. So at this point, because we don't know exactly how we want to spend it, we're gonna recommend that we renew that CD.
The CD was put in place in 1990. That's the only thing we can tell you on it.
We're gonna work in this year's budget to figure out how we best use some of these monies if need be. But we don't have a place to put it now, so let's renew it, we can cash it out later without it.
I move that we approve this agenda item as written.
Okay, second, right? You got a second? Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to F. Consider an act upon the reappointment of Kimberly Falk as the shared representative for the city of Lidle ISD to the Atchison Board of Directors.
County, or council, it's just that every 2 years we gotta reappoint them. The school district's already reappointed her, so it's our turn to reappoint her. She, it's a shared representative, she's been on for years for us. It'd be our motion that we approve it, reappoint her.
I make that motion.
Got a motion? Reappoint Kimberly Falk. Do I have a second?
And you said the school board already approved it?
Yes, sir.
I'll second.
Got a second? Any further discussion?
Do you have any other interest for somebody to represent the city moving forward? I mean, right now it might be one thing, but, you know, with all this new development coming in, we have somebody that represents just us.
Would have to talk to the appraisal district and how that all works out. I don't know, to be honest with you. We could reach out to them and see at what point would we get our own representative and split? Because the fact that we grow is the same that it's, the school district grows. At some point, we get large enough to be our own.
I mean, the school district, it's much larger. That's my thought process is that, home 15 miles down, still in Lidle ISD doesn't really have a lot of common with something over here on McDonald Street. So.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much, appreciate that. G, consider an act upon city staff investigation and reporting regarding community concerns with vehicular traffic on Magnolia Street.
So council and chief is here to chime in as needed, but we put the trailer out. Unfortunately, there were some issues with the trailer, but we got a 10-day data set from that trailer on the cars on Magnolia Street. So the total vehicle count over 10 days was 2,552 cars. Of that, 2,447 cars were driving under the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit. 84 cars were traveling between 30 and 35, and 21 cars were driving over the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit. The highest speed we captured on that road was 41 miles an hour, and I believe that was one of our PD units going through emergency call, he said. So the report we were reading from the residents, they were driving 70 and 80 down that road. That is, at least this data doesn't show that to us. So realistically, only about 4% of the cars traveling down that road are speeding above 30 miles an hour.
Yeah,
That's
and
about what we see across the entire town. So
And
moving forward,
I was gonna say, and understand when you say speeding, we're talking about 31.
31 and above. Yeah.
So, which you're not gonna really be able to take enforcement action on anything 30 to 35, 36 would be, very abnormal.
I still think that, besides the speed, I still think that we should still put the yield sign where we have talked about.
You mean stop sign?
Yeah, a stop sign, mainly because that darn tree that's there. That
So-
tree scares me sometimes.
So in our opinion, the chief and I are looking at this, it's not really a speeding issue, it's more of a traffic volume issue like we saw in Lytle Somerset Street. So moving forward, the only thing chief and I could come up with was making the Florence Magnolia Street a two-way stop, and then going down to Magnolia and South Benton and making that a three-way stop.
Yeah.
Ultimately, you're making cars stop or they're traveling down the road. But I will caveat that with, we should probably get buy-in from the residents over there, all the residents, not just one resident, because one resident came in and made this complaint, and if we changed everything based off of what one resident told us, we could make every other resident upset with us. So we don't disagree with the stop signs. We really think that might be the best course of action moving forward. But before we do that, in my opinion, I think we need to maybe set a date and hold a workshop to bring the residents in and see how many are really interested. And I think we might find we might be back into that Lytle Somerset range where we heard from one or two, but we never heard from the majority. But even when we gave them opportunity to come in.
Do we need a workshop, or can we just send them a letter asking them, they take an informal poll, feel like.
We can do that.
We can go door to door for that
Go
matter.
door to door and just ask them, or put something in their door, and, from Chief Priest, I think that people like Chief Priest.
Well, I
And
know
put his
most-
picture on there.
Yeah, I know most everybody over there. I
You
mean,
go with
it's
some
not-
baked goods,
I think
you go
that's
ask
my
them what
area.
they want.
It gives me an opportunity to meet people.
The chief would love to go with you, sir.
All right, Chief, we go on the police car.
What,
You can buy lunch.
as far as that trailer is concerned, does it pick up the time of day? Because what I heard from somebody living on Magnolia, it was during a certain time,
Yes.
and he felt like it was people going who worked at the nursing home. That they-
No.
that were
Here,
like,
no, that's not.
Or is it the
There-
police?
there's
I'm
not
gonna step
enough-
out real quick and grab a hold.
There's not enough people at the nursing home that are gonna affect that. No, what this is, I'm sorry, sir. What this is, I bet just about everything. This is simply people who are backed up on Somerset Street, and they're taking that, they're, instead of going down and hitting a red light, if they're going south, north on Main, they're coming down Magnolia and going out Somerset to head out Benton City Road. They're doing the same thing coming in to avoid the congestion at Somerset Street. I mean, we watch it, I can stand in front of the PD and you see people drive down that road. Well, let people live down that road.
I go down that road.
Yeah, to avoid the
I
red
don't
light,
wanna go all the way
right?
around, huh?
To avoid the red light,
Mm-hmm.
there you go.
I drive down Magnolia, I could probably drive 20 miles an hour down the street, but I do it to avoid the potholes that are on
Oh, that too.
Somerset.
So
You
what-
missed all three big
So
ones.
what you're gonna see though, as development that we're not involved with out on Benton City Road continues to grow, you're gonna see more and more traffic that are gonna be taking that path.
I can tell you in the reports right here, it is pretty consistent between 8 AM and 5 to 7 PM. The numbers are all pretty equal in there. I mean, you might have some spikes, but So it's just their way of getting through town. And it may be, I can tell you, in working in the police department for years, you have a crash right here at this intersection, it's the way that person always goes. That's the only way they know. So if that's the way they went once or twice in life, that's the only way they traverse the town right there. So,
Well, she brought up some good concerns, and in a sense for us, we promised her that we would go back and take a look at it and then get back to them. So there's been a few options that have been thrown out there. In particular, it seemed like, Richard, it's your district, so, being able to get with Richie, so we have an opportunity to go ahead and put some sort of action on this one, so if the council wants to make an action for.
Table this for months, to allow time to do this investigation?
I mean, I'd make a motion, I'd like to make a motion. I move that we authorize, Alderman Hughes and Chief Priest to canvass Magnolia Street to take a poll of the residents on whether or not they would like stop signs at the intersection of Benton and Magnolia and, what is that? Florence and Magnolia.
Okay, got a motion on the floor?
We're gonna table it until this is done, Charles, or?
No, they're gonna go do it. They're gonna go.
We're gonna do it. We're basically, the council's
second
saying that they both basically don't.
But we gotta make sure, is there a budget for their lunch?
My kind of guy.
So you got your second?
I second.
Okay, got a second. Okay, further discussion?
Yeah, so we're looking at the door to door. So with that in mind, the next meeting we have on this, are we gonna be making a decision or are we just simply gonna look at the results? Because if we're gonna be making a decision, we need to also a open session for any resident that may want to come in. Because it not only affects the residents, but it may affect others traveling back and forth to the school and the other area. So I'd like to see an open session where citizens are allowed to come in and make any statements for or
Could
against.
those citizens, sign them?
Well, what I'm getting at is you're not gonna be going to their homes,
Yeah.
everybody in Lido. So we need to have an opportunity.
So you bring up a valid point, and definitely something we can do, but let's get the data first, let's
So-
get the information first.
With that, the next meeting will be just to review the data.
Yes.
only.
Yeah, to review what they actually came up with, and then be able to figure out, see what we need to do, but yes, we probably do need to open it up at one point to go ahead and do that. So,
And Mayor, I think we're setting a precedence here on how we're gonna move forward on other complaints that others may have, because we've seen people complain about speeding, wanting speed bumps, and yeah, I think we're gonna cut our teeth on this.
Yeah.
I like to do it the right way.
I'll do that. Anything else for discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much. All right. Richie, no Happy Meals, okay, for lunch. All right, let's go ahead and do H, consider and act upon ordinance number 23-12, amending sections 50-25 of the Lido City Code to set the city's solid waste fee, rates, fees, and charges to automatically reflect the periodic price adjustments made under the city's franchise agreement for solid waste collection and disposal.
So, council, this is exactly that. Basically, this ordinance will give us the authority to automatically adjust our rate based off what the CPI index is showing. Because we don't get that data until after we adopt our budgets where the contract was written. It's a good thing because prior to the one we got, it was twice as high. So that's it right there. That's all we're doing is the automatic approval. So that way we can automatically adjust our rate to whatever waste management is transferring into us. So I can tell you for informational, this year's CPI adjustment was 6.45%, and just a month or two ago was at 12%. So it actually worked out in our benefit this time. So the old rates, and I got them broke down for you. The first cart is they bill us $21.44. We add on $5.50 for the bulk and $1.07 for the city's cost for a total of $28.01. The second cart was $8.55. Under the new rate structure, it's going to $22.82, and then we're going to keep our bulk in our city the same. So it'll be $29.39, and if you have a second cart, it's going to go to $9.10. So The only thing we're adjusting when we do this is what Waste Management is pushing over to us, and we transfer on to the resident. We're not changing any of our costs.
This is for 12th Creek?
Yeah, this is every October, they will send us that new CPI, and this ordinance will allow us to not have to come back before you every year to adopt it. It just automatically transfers through.
So we said this like the fourth time now. On the previous, Lynette, you showed a positive amount.
It was a gross positive.
Yes,
Make sure
so
that's something that-
that goes into the calculation of this, right? As far as our rates, how much they increase?
No, so her surplus, what she's showing as a positive is not really a positive. You gotta take what we have there, and then we still have to deduct what we pay monthly for brush collection, which is 55 to somewhere
So
in
those
there.
monies
And then
do
our,
not go
there
in.
is not a surplus per se. That's just
That's just the
what
base.
we build out
Yeah.
versus what they build us.
That's just your
We still have
base.
other
Then
stuff
you-
we have to pay out of that.
Then you have your brush pickup, but then you also have your overhead and burden. That's something I'll be looking into for the next probably quarter, but I just can't do it right now.
Okay, so, but that's not in this
No,
calculation? Okay.
Yeah, there's not a true surplus per se.
Mayor, do we have a motion? Mayor, I want to make a motion to accept the ordinance number 2312, amending section 50-25, the City of Lidle City Code to set city solid waste rates and fees and charges and to automatically reflect the periodic adjustment made under the city's franchise agreement for solid waste collection and disposal as presented.
A motion on the floor?
Second.
And a second, discussion.
So this is automatically taken care of in October.
Yes, so next year in October, when they send us the new CPI, if it goes up or it goes down, we can now automatically adjust that internally and send it out.
And we'll notify residents.
Yeah, we can notify residents in their October bill, this FYI, and the bill's coming out. This one, I don't know, we already sent October, yeah, we're already halfway through. So in November's bill, we'll add a quick insert on why there's a change.
Thank you.
I think, it's important that the residents and businesses understand that it's based off the cost that the city's incurring. It's
Yes.
not the city, like how you have it broken down.
We're not raising our fees.
That the city's fees for remain flat, this is waste management. That way, less people get mad at you, right, coming down yelling at you at City
Yes,
Hall.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And that pretty much takes care of the action items on there. We're doing really good, council. Let's go ahead and move on to the department reports. And the first one that we have is going to be the finance director's report. Annette?
All right, my 5 minutes.
Yes. Good.
All right, utility billing for water accounts, we have 1541, we did drop a little bit, that's just because we had a lot of sales over at Rush Pullman, we had 12 houses sale. So the 12 that you see, it's actually 18 different, will be on the next month's billing with a new bill. Water bill was 98,527. Sewer accounts, 902, it went up, I think 18, 19, a little bit, almost the same, at 34,516, and your gas accounts have not changed, at 346, still billed at 30,000. Total utility billing was 164,000. Tapping fees were a little bit slow. Water impact fees, 6,564, tapping fees of 3,000, acquisition fees of 5,400, no gas, no sewer, and no sewer tapping. It was kind of a slow month, but I think we'll see an increase next month with all some new home stuff that Paula's got coming in. Donations, animal control, $112.50, library at $169.75, total donations of $282.25. The department, fire department for the redistribution is $991.25. City sales tax for September came in at $132,504.96, for a year-to-date of $1,005,000. Hotel tax for September came in 11,131.82. Total for year-to-date was 115,482. Franchise tax for the third quarter came in a little bit higher at 51,477 with a total of 207. Which I did put on there because we did go over. We budgeted a little bit, so, because we budgeted 171 last year. So. Court fines for August have been a little bit slow. We are down to 1 court a month now. But our year-to-date, or for August, we brought in, I'm sorry, that should say September, not August, I'm sorry, I didn't change that. It was 33,318. We did a year-to-date of 612. Please keep in mind that I still have to send out all the extra fees, the warrant collection fees, the FDA fees, state court fees. There's fees I have to send out for seatbelt, all different kind of stuff. So all the state court fees that went out were 205,000. That was actually for the year, and then for the monthly fees was 3,400, and another 951 went back to Purdue. Internal updates, we did, we're in the preliminary for a new court clerk. We have found somebody, she's doing her pre-employment, all her stuff came back today. I'm hoping to have her start within the next 10 days. Diane took an early retirement. She decided to separate from the city a little bit earlier. Ashley and I are running the court right now, so it's going very well. New online court payment system, we had a setback, and I know I told y'all last month that it would be up and running by right now, but we're having a server issue. Matt and I are in the middle of trying to fix that. So just in short, our server is not big enough to run the system. We are addressing that with Frontera. The judge sat down with Ashley and I and gave us new standing orders and stuff, and trying to go more paper, not paper free, but call it paper light in court, where we're doing a lot, a little bit different kind of data collection and stuff like that, so we don't have so much files piled everywhere. And then I said a minute ago that we're down to 1 quarter docket. We're pretty much caught up. So,
Awesome.
Richie, how far are we out?
He's not in here.
Oh, never mind.
Food time.
Yeah, I think we're only like a month out. So so the last year, we had gotten completely caught up, and we were 6 to 9 months behind. I think on tickets, we were far behind, so. All right, for utilities, we're reviewing the tax option from Tyler still, but that's kind of gotten put on hold until I can get court taken care of because of the server issue. Liza's fully trained now on the radio reads and the Harmony system. She said really well. She had one small hiccup last week, but otherwise she's learned, and she's doing very well. Work orders have been done digitally now. So Robbie behind me kind of got it thrown at him, and I think he's a lot happier on how we're doing it now. So he gets sent digital work orders twice a day now, and he is addressing them that way, and he hasn't complained to me, so I'm assuming everything's good. Huh?
I said, we're good.
You're good, yeah. Internally, from the finance department, the audit has started. We are uploading stuff, we are going through stuff. We won't have our on-site. They're putting me in a pretty good big challenge. They're giving me a 2-day field work day, but I'll do it. I'm continuing. We're still prepping for the JDs and the end of years stuff, and I'm still having to get over to her, transfers and that kind of stuff. I'm trying to part-time train somebody so I can have some kind of backup, but there's a little bit of time management issues there that we just don't have enough time for me to train somebody. TWC audit started. I'm in the middle of that as well. TML workers comp started last week too. That came in, and I did some CEs that I was supposed to for the end of the year to get so I can hand them over, but they weren't as many CEs as I wanted, and Matt heard me throwing a fit there the other day about it. But I will be attending the CGFM workshop on November 6th.
Awesome. Council, any questions?
The court clerk position, how many total applicants have you received?
We had 19.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot more than I thought. We had 19. I think Paul and I selected 8. I think 8. brought 8 in for the second round, and the girl that we have decided to hire already had, well, she has a court clerk one, but it's not from the same,
It's on the county side of doing
Yeah.
things versus the city side.
so
They kind of
she
run
worked at
separate.
county, she worked with Judge Vaughn over there, so I feel real good about it. So.
Awesome. All right. There we go, Paula. Your turn.
We had a total of 13 permits for the month of September. This mainly just signs. Only one home, and that was just a rush home, not even a rush home, there was another, I think on Main Street or something. And the inspections were 31 inspections, and most of them were all rush home. It's got only 2 finals, but mainly everything was just rush home. 13 inspections for the plumbing. It's very low this time. I just like not a lot. I didn't have a breakdown on my own taxes, my breakdown for the delinquent and all that, so this is what we collected for the month of September. Our actual permit for 5,570, and our billing one was $60. These were just some of the things that we did for September, one more commission meeting, the open meeting, and we did the luncheon for the mayors.
Let's go. I noticed one permit for car wash. Was that new or modified or?
That's for the car wash that is going up on this side.
This is part of the master development plan for the new, car wash mini storage location.
So right next to
across
the
our-
restaurant.
Yes, yes, it's gonna be the full service drive-through, vacuum, it's gonna be different than any other car wash got now. Owned by the same guy, no, the car washes, but.
Council, questions?
They're gonna have, workers going and washing the.
I think so. But I don't know this whole thing.
Thanks, Paul. Appreciate that. All right.
You have a timeline on it, man?
They're ready to get started. I think they've got everything in. Plans have been reviewed by Oka and approved. He's waiting to get a contractor signed. He's ready to move on the car wash portion.
And they have a coming soon signer on Castroville, same group.
It's gonna be really nice. I mean, same situation like I pay $20 a month and it's a drive-through. I can wash as much as I want, in that month as long as I can't do more than once a day, I guess. But drive-through does all the washing and you pull around for free vacuums, detailing stuff. It's really nice.
All right.
Ready? All right, I'll zoom through here. It's been online because I want to cover some other stuff. All that's moving forward. Road paving's done. We're gonna go through, they got some cleanup to do, and then we're gonna do a drive-through of it, check everything out with the engineer, and once it's all signed off, we'll pay. If you noticed, all of our manholes and valve boxes, they were cut out and concreted around them. So it looks really nice, it should be level with the road. Moving forward with that, residential, really the biggest one is gonna be in your Rosewood Estates, that's across the street, the LGI community. They are ready to start going vertical. And talking to everybody, our inspectors, engineers and everything, we've made an agreement with them because they're still tying in water and sewer, getting them final accepted. They're probably maybe a month out for that, but they're ready to start submitting permits. So if we can get permits in, get them reviewed and permits issued for construction, we're gonna allow them to construct, but they cannot leave their property line. So they can't make any permanent connections to the water or sewer that's in there until it's all been accepted by the city. But we're gonna allow them to go vertical up until the point that the inspector says, hey, stop, you can't do any more until you make these connections. But they want to get ahead of the game so they can start selling homes. That's about it. That's the Rosewood there. Open projects. I still need to work with Robbie on getting a timeline for the bollards on North Somerset. We just had a bunch of other things popping up here and there. The Adams Street drainage, we hope that with the street paving, we did some slight adjustment to the road. So maybe we solved that. We're gonna see when the rains come. Lakeshore, we talked about there, about 65% complete. I did talk to the resident that lives out there, explain to him what's going on, the process and everything in full, and he's super happy on board. We're still moving in the right direction.
So Mr. Joyce.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Contracts are all there, nothing big there. I can tell you we're working on the AT&T. We got some numbers today on another provider. We're hoping to bring that cost down substantially, hopefully. Different meetings we're in right there. We'll go over to code compliance. Didn't have a whole lot. That's Danny still doing it. Our new code compliance officer. I'll touch that on here in a minute. That's everything wrong with the parks division. I need to check with Wayne so I can update y'all monthly on what's going on. We went in and bought all the wooden stuff he needs to start replacing benches and stuff like that. But I'll come in here and start updating those monthly on what he got done. Public Works Division. We had a total of 3 open positions starting October 1st. So 1 we had prior year, and then 2 water positions, right? So we hired 2. We had a 3rd kind of waiting. We hired 2 and put them to work. Unfortunately, we've already lost one of those to a higher paying job somewhere else. So we've got another gentleman who's going to talk to his wife to see if financially it works out. But we're still advertising. So hopefully we can get some people going there. Our Public Works Director came in and did resign from the city and retired. So that position is now open. So the November 13th meeting, I'm going to come forward to y'all with some options and see how we want to move forward. I can tell you that in the Public Works Division, we're still fully licensed. We've got 2 third-party contractors, independent contractors on, 1 for the water, 1 for the sewer. So we're still 100% compliant with the licenses needed to move forward. Code compliance conditional job offers out there with that gentleman who's going to start in December. That's because we made an agreement. He was probably the best candidate Paul and I interviewed, and the background we can really feel confident about him. But he just recently retired from a 28-year job with FedEx. And he's like, I wasn't really looking to go back to work just yet, but you popped up. So we agreed to wait for December to bring him on. And then, of course, the city administrator interview was being conducted tomorrow night. And that's it. I don't know if y'all got any questions y'all might.
Well, with that December timeframe, we do have a commitment.
Yeah, he's ready to go in December. He just, we're gonna pick that 2-week window and then to start. But yeah, he's gonna start in December for us. So currently it's still being operated through the police department or as complaints come in.
The city yard maintenance expires January 2020.
We advertise.
2024,
Yes.
excuse me. We're gonna bid that out,
Yes, sir. We're gonna bid that out in November, so start next month.
and that contract also covers the community center.
Yes.
That's one,
Okay, it's 1%.
thank you.
Yes. All right, let's go ahead and we'll go into our informational items and start over here.
Okay, so as we know, the annual citizenship award is open until the end of the month, October 31st. I'd like to let those that know that are nominating to please put as much information as possible. You gotta remember that this is a community effort. This is, the person being nominated has done something for the community. I understand that there's excellent residents out there that have done great job at their work within the school, but I want to put a reminder out there that this is for the community. This is community-based. So please, when you're submitting a nomination, keep that in consideration, that when you do fill it out, try to give as much information as possible. That would help the committee out a lot to be able to come up with who they're gonna recommend or nominate for each award. And that would be the youth 18 and under, the adult 19 and over, a group, honorable mention, which could be anybody outside the city of Lido, but has contributed to the community, and the individual lifetime achievement award.
Appreciate it. Anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Charles?
I got nothing, Mayor.
Paula?
No, sir.
Bobby? Thank you for what you do. Appreciate all your efforts. Okay, back over here. We got anything? Sandra, Santi?
6 adoptions, well, actually 8, but 6 officially on Saturday on our adopted vet.
Awesome. That's great. Great. And we had some folks stopping over here while we were doing the dumpster stuff that were asking some questions, so we're sending them your way.
Oh, awesome.
So that was good. Good. Richie?
Parade, Saturday, November 4th. I talked to Tammy McDonald, everything's, going as well. They're, obviously they're not, participation level's not where they'd like it to be. We are competing with a big all-day festival of Divine, so they're gonna be working on ramping up, making phone calls and, trying to, reach out on the parade. 10 a.m. Main Street, if you haven't been here before, it'll be wonderful, no matter, even if it's kind of short, it's still a wonderful event.
So council, just so you know, we will have a trailer set up for the council to go ahead and ride in. It's both you and your spouse, significant other, whoever you like, will be able to ride with you on there. So we'll have space and we'll get all together. That's what we normally actually do, just so you know. So please make sure if your schedule's open, participate, we'll all get together. Paul already has the little flags, pirate flags and everything to be able to decorate the trailer and everything else. So I would plan, it starts at 10, Richie?
Yes, sir, 10 a.m.
I'll probably say if you can be here 15 minutes still.
Yeah, it'll,
Jesse on it.
Well, we probably earlier that, because y'all have to be lined up.
yeah,
9:30?
so, yeah, I would say 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock's the line, so basically they'll line the vehicle, they'll line everybody up.
Church.
Yeah, the first one will start at just this side of the post office, and they'll line up number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5.
Okay.
So they have to get everybody in there because at that time we have to keep the roadway open. So normally I'd say probably, now if the truck's up there and lined up, then a person can come by and drop you off at 9:15. But if you're gonna try to park somewhere, it's gonna get really congested on Main Street. So
Get here early then?
If you want to go on the truck from here to the parade, to their lineup spot. Other than that, you can walk from here to the lineup spot or be dropped off at the lineup spot. We'll know where we line up as it gets closer.
Okay. So make plans, minimum 9:30, be ready to go. Okay. All right, Jesse?
Two things. About the city cleanup on Saturday. I think we pretty much filled 4 dumpsters to start it, which is really good. People now anticipating us doing this twice a year and they're kind of cleaning out and bringing stuff. So that worked very well. I don't think there's a lot of turnout for walking the streets, right? Maybe an advertising problem, we'll work on that. The second thing, Richie, has anybody talked to you about a police escort for this Saturday morning for the band going to Beeville?
briefly,
Okay,
a guy called me,
I got it, okay.
he's sitting up there.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, if you guys can do that, I can get the flag to Mr. Chester, I'm pretty sure, like we've done before. So, will you put us on your schedule?
Yeah, if you'll just send me an email reminder, because we're doing been stepping out, trying to coordinate escort right now for the cross country coming in, which they're probably, maybe they're already here.
Yeah, I'll get the information, lock in the flag thing and, let you know.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I have.
Anything else? Yeah, well, thanks again, David, and to the committee. Everybody did a great job with the cleanup. Santi, thanks again for the adoption event. I heard a lot of great things. You guys were busy with that and the spade and neuter over there, but heard it went very well, so appreciate that. Special thanks to Paula and PD for the support with the outreach fair throughout the year. We will begin again in February, and we'll do it again 5 times next year, every other month. That has been a huge success. It's taken off. And a lot of folks have actually taken advantage of those programs that are out there. So it's worked out really good. I also want to say special thanks to Paula for this year for taking care of all the senior meals and the activities for this past. How did it turn out?
It was good. There wasn't a lot of people like last time, but it was really good. And,
You had a guest speaker, right?
Yes, we did. And they had all the questions for them.
Who was the guest speaker?
ACOG.
ACOG. Yeah. So good opportunity to be able to present different programs and everything, and just matching them up, it kind of opens it up for the opportunity to take care of that. So that's worked out really good. Special thanks to David for representing us at Atascosa Planning Meeting. I know you and Matt have worked on it in the past in the sense of.
Well, this was Workforce Solutions.
There's Workforce Solutions doing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a little different than the,
Okay.
county planning. I'll do what you want.
Okay.
What you want.
But thank you for taking care of that.
No problem.
Thanks to Michael, David, and Paula for attending the ISD ambassador training. That worked out really good, just being able to get knowledge about what's going on in the school, and making sure that we kind of align ourselves for the future with everything that is going on with them. Attended the CPS Summit. It was a really good time to kind of get an idea of what's going on and everything else. They told us that they're prepared for this next winter season. They put about $980 million in investment. They're still having issues with the large transformers, obtaining the large transformers. So what they've done, and it's pretty neat, CPS has set up an internal shop to repair those that can be repaired. They're not a total, so if some of them blow up, they can bring them in, try to diagnose, and if they can, they'll actually repair them. One of the cool things that they're actually doing is if there's some that are not being used, like in an empty lot or an old business or something like that, they want us to let them know. And that way they can come over, make an assessment whether or not they're being utilized, connected to anything. And if not, they might be able to go ahead and take them back, repair them, and then they will keep them in the queue for this community in case we get a business or something that needs to be replaced. So it's pretty neat. One of the ways that they're trying to overcompensate for the problems that they've had with the logistical of getting those large ones. The single phase transformers, which is the ones for our homes, around our homes and stuff like that, they got plenty of those. They got plenty. So that's a good thing, because those are the ones that we've been blowing a lot more. I will remind you, because here recently, even in our city, in different parts of the city, we have had problems with trees. This is without any kind of major weather or anything, just a tree limb touching the wires, and guess what? Just blows up the transformer. So please keep an eye out. Please let us know. Some things we can actually help out with. Some things are the individual, and some things because of the height and where they're at, we got to call CPS. But keep a lookout. This is before winter season, and we started talking about ice and everything else. But trimming trees is a big thing to kind of help us out with that. Update on TechStop, they're still repairing the guardrail that got damaged about 2 weeks ago. A week ago. Is that right? Something like that?
Couple of weeks.
Yeah, week and a half ago. So they're still working on it. So expect delays on 3175. They're actually doing it between 9 and 3 to avoid hitting or affecting the school traffic. So they're still working on that one. Once again, reminder, we already mentioned the interviews tomorrow. 6:10, so please be here. We're going to do it in here. Matt has come up with a great plan. We're going to have the holding area over there, and basically we'll go into executive session using this facility in here. Okay. Want to remind first responders, we actually have the Medina County is doing something for all first responders on the 28th of October from 10 to 3. Great event. Every emergency responder free for them and their family. They're being fed, entertainment, stuff like that. It's a great thing, and it's in the middle of the day, so it doesn't disrupt too much. But great chance to be able to do that. I'm assuming that they'll probably be doing this on an annual basis from this point. They've gotten great sponsorship and support for being able to do this. They're actually doing it. It's on County Road 540. It's actually one of those branches where they host big events and stuff like that. So it's out near Hondo where they're actually doing it. But it's pretty neat. We'll take a look at that. Once again, reminder, the Citizenship Award, please make sure that we actually take care of that. The homecoming, like Richie mentioned, on the 4th. I do want to remind folks, we do have some folks in here. Veterans Parade, the Lido ISD is putting that together. That will be on the 10th of November, on that Friday. So please look out there. There's information. I'll be getting some new information from the school and getting it out there. So it's a great time. The elementary school does a great job of being able to do that. We have Operation Green Light. Just so you know, this came from the different counties. It's a push for us to be able to highlight or be able to be thankful to our veterans. So they're asking for you to switch a green light or a fixture outside with a green light basically between the 6th and the 12th of November as a way to kind of say thank you to the veterans and their families. So we'll be putting some stuff out on that. Reminder also on the hayride, even though we're very close, please get with, we're going to be asking for people to help us out with the trailers. So get the word out, goosenecks and stuff like that, so we can go ahead and get prepared and have people lined up for that second Saturday in December. Second Saturday in December in the evening, be able to do that. And I know Paola's gonna get busy too with all the programming and everything else that we need to do with that. Do wanna ask for special prayers for, Mr. Gilbert Meyer is the Chief Petty Officer, retired. He was our Pearl Harbor survivor. Just a great individual, that affected our community, and, he passed away this weekend. So prayers for him and his family and Lori. I will let you know that the VFW will now be naming the post after him. So there'll be a name change on that, but it's pretty neat what they're actually doing, and they did a great job with a quick ceremony of when he passed away the following day, to be able to lower the flags and be able to play taps on his behalf. The cool thing is he was able to see the new VFW. He was with us for a whole month after it opened up. So that was good to be able for him to be able to know that what he wanted was actually accomplished in his property that he donated to the VFW. Also prayers for Annie Thompson. I know you guys knew her. She's been a long time resident here. She actually drove one of our school buses for about 20 years. She was a school bus driver. Just a sweetheart of a lady. She was a spark plug. Everywhere you went, you would always see her. So great lady overall. We lost her. I haven't heard anything from the family in the sense of what they want to do, but as soon as we get any information, we'll actually let you know. But please, prayers for her and her family. Cross country today, great job. Holy moly. First, the boys ended up getting first in regionals, so they're advanced to state, and the girls also advanced to state. They placed second overall. So kudos, to Coach Reese, Coach Benavides, Coach Foster still involved, helping out. Just overall, it was cool seeing some of the old students, and they're going to college, and you see them out there supporting our Pirates. It was pretty neat being able to see that. But they did a great job, and even with injuries. And on the boys' side, one of our best ones, they got first place, and one of our best ones did not run. Yeah. So we got a good team, and we got great coaching and support. The parents are awesome too, being able to take care of that. The band moving on to area competition in Beeville this Saturday.
Yeah,
So,
can I just say another word?
Yeah, please.
We are having a send-off. They'll be going to Beeville, so I guess the send-off will be here in front of City Hall and the Harbor Store like we normally do. They're leaving, I think it's 6:45 in the morning. So we're gonna start gathering here about 6:15. And if you want to come out and cheer the band on as they pass by in the buses, that'd be a great thing. We'd love to have you out.
We'll be good. We'll get the information out there. Volleyball is ending ending their regular season. So stay tuned here in the next week. We'll find out what placement we have on the playoffs. Tomorrow, I know we're going to be here in interviews, but it's a big game tomorrow night. Hopefully some of the family members can be out there. And then football has been doing really good. We got our toughest team that we're going to play in district, and that's Jordanton this weekend. And Jordanton has not lost, and they're pretty strong, but you never know. Hopefully we get a little bit of rain and it kind of changes the tactics out on the football field to be able to do that. But they're doing overall. Last thing I have for you is we actually have birthdays that are coming up. Actually, one of our partners with Molly, she's coming up on the 11th of November. But before that, he gets a special one, since he always gets a second one. We got on the 31st of October, we actually have Chief Richie's birthday.
Whoa.
So he gets a double-decker. Normally he gets the extra one, but then the other one. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Richie. Happy birthday to you. Okay, wish for another Tahoe.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There you go. Yeah.
You could share it.
I know. I'm busy. We got with Halloween coming up and stuff. Okay, with that in mind, council, it is 8:02. If I can have a motion for us to go ahead and adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
I'll say.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank,
I agree.
there you go. Council, thank you so much. Once again, we'll see you tomorrow, 6:10 tomorrow. We'll go ahead and take care of our interviews. Have a great evening. Oh, yeah.